All right, so we're diving deep today, folks, into a book that really got me thinking, and I have a feeling it's going to do the same for you. It's called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Yeah, when I first heard about this book, I honestly figured it would be, one of those typical finance books.
Right, all about like spreadsheets and, investment strategies.
Exactly. But this one really surprised me.
Yeah, it dives into the psychology behind our financial decisions.
Really gets into how our emotions and biases can sometimes, lead us astray.
Totally. And I think everyone can relate to that. I mean, we've all made those impulse purchases or, maybe regretted not investing in something sooner.
Absolutely. Housel's big point is that understanding our psychology is often, more important than mastering like all those complicated financial formulas.
Which honestly is a bit of a relief, right? Because who really wants to spend all their time crunching numbers?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, practically speaking, what are some examples of how this psychology actually plays out in our lives?
Okay, so one thing that Housel talks about is how our upbringing can have a huge impact on our financial decisions. Like, for example, someone who grew up in a family that struggled financially might be more likely to, hoard money even when they become successful.
That makes sense. It's like that scarcity mindset kind of sticks with them.
Yeah, exactly. And on the flip side, someone who grew up in a wealthy family, they might be more comfortable taking risks because they've kind of seen that things tend to work out in the end.
Yeah, it's like they have this like almost subconscious belief that they'll always be okay financially.
Exactly. And then there's this idea that, our past experiences can also shape our financial behavior.
Like, give me an example.
Like, say you invested in a stock that tanked, really badly.
Oh, yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. So then in the future, you might be super hesitant to invest in stocks again, even if it's, a totally different situation.
Oh, yeah, that fear of repeating that same mistake can be, like, paralyzing.
Exactly. And Housel, he actually uses a lot of really interesting stories to illustrate these points.
Ooh, I love a good story. What's one that comes to mind?
So there's this story about a lottery winner who, wins millions of dollars but ends up in a worse financial position than they were before.
Wait, what? Seriously? You'd think winning the lottery would be like the ultimate financial dream come true.
Oh, right. But this actually happens more often than you might think. It's called sudden wealth syndrome. Like, this person wasn't prepared for the, psychological and emotional impact of suddenly having so much money.
Oh, wow. Like they didn't have the mental tools or the financial literacy to handle it?
Exactly. And so they ended up making a bunch of, impulsive decisions, overspending, and eventually losing their entire fortune.
Man, that's such a powerful example of how it's not just about like the money itself, but how we're equipped to handle it. It's like we need a whole different set of skills to manage wealth than we do to, just earn a living.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. And, it's not just about like sudden wealth either. Even people who gradually build wealth over time can struggle if they don't have the right mindset.
Okay, so what are some of the like psychological traps that we can fall into, even when we're not dealing with, like massive windfalls or anything?
So one big one is something called, I think it's called loss aversion. Like, we tend to feel the pain of a loss way more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain.
Oh, yeah, I've totally experienced that. It's like, losing $100 feels way worse than winning $100 feels good.
Exactly. And so that can make us, overly cautious and risk averse, even when taking some risks might be, the best thing for our long-term financial well-being.
Like it holds us back from potential growth.
Exactly. And then there's the tendency to focus too much on the short term.
Yeah, like instant gratification versus, delayed rewards.
Exactly. Like we want to see results right away, and that can lead us to make, decisions that aren't in our best interest in the long run.
Like chasing, get-rich-quick schemes or trying to time the market.
Exactly. And Housel, he really emphasizes that the most successful investors, they tend to have this long-term perspective.
Okay, so how do we actually cultivate that long-term perspective? I mean, it's easy to say think long-term, but how do we actually do it when, life is happening all around us?
Yeah, I think one key is to really be clear about your goals.
Like, what do you actually want to achieve with your money?
Exactly. Is it buying a house? Is it retiring early?
Is it traveling the world?
Yeah, whatever it is, once you have that clear goal in mind, it becomes easier to make decisions that support that goal, even if it means sacrificing some, short-term pleasure.
That makes total sense. And it's like when you're focused on that bigger picture, those like day-to-day fluctuations in the market, they don't seem as scary anymore.
Exactly.
Because you're playing the long game. And Housel also talks about this idea that true wealth isn't just about money.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one. It's about freedom.
Yeah, can you expand on that a bit? Like, what does he mean by freedom in the context of wealth?
So he defines it as having control over your time and your options.
So, like, not being tied to a job you hate just because you need the paycheck.
Exactly. It's about having the financial security to pursue your passions, spend time with loved ones, and make choices without being constantly like constrained by your finances.
So it's like, it's less about the actual dollar amount and more about what that money enables you to do.
Precisely. And I think, for a lot of people, that idea of freedom, that's what's really motivating.
Yeah, it's a much more like meaningful and inspiring goal than just, accumulating a big pile of cash.
Right. And it also takes some of the pressure off, like you don't have to compare yourself to, like billionaires or whoever.
It's about defining wealth on your own terms.
Exactly. But, there's always this question, right, of like how much of financial success is actually within our control.
Yeah, like how much is hard work and smart decisions versus just plain luck?
Right. And, Housel is honest about the fact that luck does play a role.
Like sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. But he also says that, while we can't control the hand we're dealt, we can control how we respond to it.
Oh, I like that. So like, even if you do get lucky, you still need to make smart choices to, capitalize on that luck.
Exactly. And on the flip side, if you encounter some bad luck, it's about how you adapt and adjust your strategy.
So it's like, it's not about, trying to eliminate luck altogether, but about becoming more resilient and resourceful in the face of, whatever life throws at you.
Precisely. And I think that's where, developing those like psychological skills that we were talking about earlier really comes into play. Like being able to manage your emotions, stay focused on your goals and not get thrown off course by every little setback.
Wow, this has been such a like mind-expanding conversation. It's really made me think about my own relationship with money in a whole new way. And, I have to say, I really appreciate how Housel doesn't just focus on like the technical aspects of finance, but also on the like human side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, money is such an emotionally charged topic for so many people.
Yeah, it's tied up with our sense of, security, our self-worth, our future. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Exactly. And I think by acknowledging that, by really delving into the psychology, Housel gives us a much more, I think, empowering and realistic framework for thinking about money.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, what would you say is like the biggest takeaway from the psychology of money?
I think it's that true wealth. It's not about, just maximizing your net worth. It's about achieving that sense of freedom and control that allows you to, live a fulfilling life on your own terms.
And that's a goal we can all strive for, regardless of our current financial situation. So that concludes our deep dive into the psychology of money.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And we hope it sparked some, some interesting thoughts and reflections for you as well.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
See you next time.
Bye.